Welcome back to the channel where stories change the way you think and help you learn English naturally. Today, I am going to tell you about a man who was rejected by every single car company on the planet. A man who was laughed out of boardrooms and told his ideas were stupid. A man who watched his rockets explode, his factories almost shut down, and his entire fortune nearly vanish in a single year. But that man did not stop. That man refused to give up. And today, that same man is the richest person in the world. His name is Elon Musk. How did a shy, bullied boy from South Africa become the most daring entrepreneur of our time? How did he survive failure after failure, loss after loss, and come back stronger each time? How did a kid who was once beaten so badly he had to go to the hospital end up building electric cars, reusable rockets, and dreaming of a colony on Mars? This is not just a story about business. It is a story about pain, rejection, and the incredible power of a single vision. It is the story of how one person can face the entire world telling him no and still find a way to say yes. And as always, this story is a powerful way to improve your English. Through clear storytelling, rich vocabulary, and real-life lessons, you will learn while you listen. Now, let's begin from the very start. Elon Musk was born on June 28, 1971, in Pretoria, South Africa. His father, Errol, was an engineer. His mother, May, was a model and a dietitian. From the outside, it seemed like a normal family. But life at home was difficult. His parents separated when he was young, and Elon decided to live with his father. That decision would bring him many years of pain. At school, Elon was different from the other children. He was small, quiet, and deeply curious about the world. While other kids were playing sports or chasing each other in the yard, Elon was reading. He read everything he could find: encyclopedias, science fiction novels, comic books. By the age of 9, he had read the entire Encyclopedia Britannica. His brain was hungry. But the other children did not understand him. They saw a strange boy who knew too many facts. He was bullied horribly. Once, a group of boys threw him down a set of concrete stairs and kicked him until he blacked out. He had to be taken to the hospital. The physical wounds healed, but the emotional scars remained. In those lonely years, Elon found comfort in his imagination. He dreamed of space travel, of inventions, of a future where humans could live among the stars. He taught himself computer programming. By the age of 12, he had created his own video game and sold it to a magazine for $500. This was the first sign of what was to come. But Elon knew he could not stay in South Africa. He wanted to go to America, the land of opportunity, the place where big dreams could come true. At 17, with very little money and his mother's support, he left. He moved to Canada, carrying only a suitcase and a burning desire to build something great. The early years in North America were hard. Elon worked strange jobs. He cleaned the boiler room of a lumber mill. He wore a hazmat suit and shoveled hot, dangerous waste. He lived on $1 a day, surviving on oranges and cheap hot dogs. But he never complained. He was focused on the future. He attended Queen's University in Canada and later transferred to the University of Pennsylvania in the United States. There, he studied physics and economics. His mind was a storm of ideas. He already knew he wanted to build companies that would change the world. In 1995, Elon began a PhD at Stanford University. But just 2 days after starting, he dropped out. The internet was exploding. He saw that the world was changing, and he didn't want to miss it. With his brother Kimball, He started a small company called Zip2. They helped newspapers put their content online. The work was brutal. Elon slept in the office, showered at a nearby gym, and worked every waking hour. The hard work paid off. In 1999, Compaq bought Zip2 for $307 million. Elon Musk, at 27 years old, received $22 million from the sale. Most people his age would have stopped. Bought a fancy car. Rested. Enjoyed life. But Elon was not like most people. He took nearly all of his money and poured it into his next company, X.com, an online payment service. This company later became PayPal. In 2002, eBay bought PayPal for $1.5 billion. Elon's share was $180 million. Now he had real money. Now he had the power to chase his biggest dreams. But this is where the story takes a turn. Instead of retiring to an island, Elon Musk did something that seemed completely insane. He decided to build a rocket company. And not just any rocket company, but one that could make space travel cheap and eventually take humans to Mars. He called it SpaceX. And at the same time, he decided to build an electric car company. Not a traditional car. Not a hybrid. A fully electric vehicle that could compete with gasoline cars. He joined a small startup called Tesla Motors as chairman and later became its CEO. The world thought he had lost his mind. Space was for governments, not private companies. Electric cars had failed again and again. Experts said both companies were guaranteed to fail. One newspaper called his idea the dumbest thing a billionaire could do. But Elon did not listen. He believed in a future where humans used clean energy and explored the stars. And he was willing to risk everything to make that future real. The next 5 years were a nightmare. SpaceX's first rocket was called the Falcon 1. The goal was simple: reach orbit. In 2006, the first launch was attempted. The rocket ignited, lifted off, and then exploded. A massive fireball. 25 seconds of flight. Failure. Elon stood in silence, watching his dream burn in the sky. A year later, they tried again. Falcon 1, second attempt. This time, the rocket made it to space, but failed to reach orbit. It spun out of control and was lost. Failure again. By now, the money was running out. Elon had poured $100 million of his own fortune into SpaceX. The third launch was prepared. The pressure was enormous. In August 2008, Falcon 1 lifted off for the third time. The first stage separated perfectly. But during stage separation, the new engine caused a problem. The rocket failed again. 3 launches. 3 failures. The SpaceX team sat in silence. Many of them had worked for years, slept on factory floors, and given everything to this dream. Now, they had nothing. Elon later said that if the 4th launch had failed, SpaceX would have died. He was completely out of money. Meanwhile, at Tesla, the situation was even worse. Tesla had produced its first car, the Roadster. It was beautiful. It proved that electric cars could be fast, sexy, and powerful. But building it was an absolute disaster. The costs were far higher than expected. The company was burning through cash at an alarming rate. Desperate for help, Elon reached out to every major car company in the world. He met with executives from Ford, General Motors, Toyota, and others. He offered partnerships. He begged for investment. He showed them the technology and the vision. And one by one, they all said no. They laughed at him. They told him electric cars were a waste of time. They said Tesla would never survive. Some of them wouldn't even take the meeting. To the giants of the car industry, Elon Musk was a joke. By mid-2008, Tesla was on the brink of bankruptcy. The company had less than a month of cash left. Elon had already invested all his remaining PayPal money. He had no house, no savings, nothing. He was sleeping on friends' couches, borrowing money for food. After building 2 successful companies, he was facing the very real possibility of losing everything. And then the global financial crisis hit. The worst economic disaster in decades. Banks were collapsing. Car sales were crashing. Investors were terrified. Who would put money into a struggling electric car company in the middle of a worldwide panic? The answer seemed to be nobody. Elon later described this period as the worst time of his life. He woke up every morning with a heavy weight on his chest. He was running 2 companies, both of which were failing. He was going through a painful divorce. And the entire business world was counting him out. But Elon Musk did not break. He made a decision. He would take every last dollar he had and split it between Tesla and SpaceX. He would save both companies or die trying. He personally guaranteed loans, took on massive debt, and convinced a few brave investors to believe in him at the last possible moment. For SpaceX, the final chance came on September 28, 2008, the 4th launch of the Falcon 1. The team gathered on a small island in the Pacific Ocean. They had no money left. This was it. The rocket lifted off. The engines burned. Stage separation happened perfectly. And then, the second stage engine fired and carried the payload into orbit. Success. History was made. SpaceX became the first private company to send a liquid-fueled rocket into orbit. The team cried. Elon cried. The impossible had been achieved. Just a few months later, in December 2008, NASA awarded SpaceX a $1.6 billion contract to deliver supplies to the International Space Station. SpaceX was saved. For Tesla, the miracle came even closer to the edge. On Christmas Eve 2008, just hours before the company would have gone bankrupt, a group of investors finally agreed to put in the money Tesla needed to survive. Elon literally signed the papers while sitting on the floor of a borrowed office, exhausted and emotional. He had poured his heart, soul, and every last cent into the company. And it had worked. From that moment on, the rise was unstoppable. SpaceX went on to develop the Falcon 9, a reusable rocket that could land itself back on Earth after launching into space. Everyone said it was impossible. In 2015, the first Falcon 9 landed successfully. In 2018, SpaceX launched Falcon Heavy, the most powerful operational rocket in the world, with a Tesla Roadster as its payload. The car is still out there, orbiting the sun. Tesla released the Model S, a luxury electric sedan that shocked the auto industry. It was voted the best car ever tested by Consumer Reports. Then came the Model X, the Model 3, the Model Y. Tesla became the most valuable car company in the world, worth more than Toyota, Ford, and General Motors combined. Elon Musk, the man rejected by every car company, had built the most successful car company on the planet. And he didn't stop there. He founded SolarCity to power homes with solar energy. He created Neuralink to connect brains to computers. He launched the Boring Company to dig tunnels and solve traffic. He bought Twitter and renamed it X, driven by his belief in free speech and the power of human connection. In 2021, Elon Musk became the richest person in the world, with a net worth of over $300 billion. But wealth was never his goal. He once said, "I don't think about being rich. I think about getting up in the morning and being excited about the future." He still works more hours than almost anyone. He still sleeps on the factory floor when there's a crisis. He still pushes his teams to the limit and demands the impossible. Because he believes that the future can be better. And he is willing to give his life to make it happen. Now, what can we learn from this incredible journey? First, rejection is not the end. Elon Musk was told no by every car company in the world. He was laughed at, mocked, and dismissed. But he didn't let their rejection define his future. Sometimes, the whole world will tell you that your idea is stupid. That doesn't mean they're right. It just means they can't see what you see. Believe in your vision when no one else does. Second, failure is part of the process. 3 rockets exploded. Tesla nearly died. He lost fortunes. He faced public humiliation. But each failure taught him something. Each failure made him stronger. Elon once said, "If things are not failing, you are not innovating enough." Failure is not your enemy. Fear of failure is. Third, work like your life depends on it. Elon Musk worked 100 hours a week for years. He sacrificed comfort, relationships, and sleep. Not everyone needs to be that extreme, but the principle is true. Extraordinary results require extraordinary effort. The people who change the world are the ones who are willing to do what others won't. Fourth, have a mission bigger than yourself. Elon's goal has never been just to make money. He wants to make humanity a multiplanetary species. He wants to solve climate change. He wants to secure the future of consciousness. When your why is big enough, you can endure any how. Finally, never, ever give up. In 2008, Elon Musk was days away from losing everything. He had no money, no house, no safety net. But he found a way. He held on. He pushed through the darkness. And on the other side, the light was brighter than he ever imagined. Elon Musk's story is not about being born a genius. It's about a bullied boy who read books, dreamed of the stars, and refused to let the world break him. It's about facing impossible odds and saying, "I will try anyway." He once said, "When something is important enough, you do it even if the odds are not in your favor." So, as you learn English, as you chase your own dreams, remember this story. Remember the boy who was beaten down but got back up. Remember the man who was rejected by everyone but built an empire. Remember that your circumstances do not define your destiny. You have dreams. You have ideas. You have a future that no one else can see. Protect it. Work for it. Fight for it. And when the world says no, remember that every great success story began with someone who refused to listen to the word impossible. Thank you for being here today. If this story touched your heart or gave you new hope, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Share this with someone who needs motivation right now. And tell me in the comments, what part of Elon's journey inspired you the most? I read every comment. Until next time, keep learning, keep building, and never let anyone tell you that your dreams are too big. Bye for now.